For those of a certain age and of a certain nationality, i.e. mine and mine, the title of this video may have engendered feelings of nausea and conjured nightmarish images of being trapped and confined on an ocean-going hotel where the entertainment came in the form of what was once Britain's premier comedy duo. And I use the words premier and comedy in the very loosest possible sense. But back in the late 70s and I think all the way through, you know what, they're probably still going. Little and Large dominated British television, and why I have absolutely no idea, because they were just so utterly crap. The large of the two, who was anything... Now there's a thing, I always imagined the large to be the tall one, or is he the little one? So there's a tall thin one and a short fat one. So I always took little and large, little to be the short guy and large to be the tall guy, but oh, I can't remember. Huh. Anyway, they were so remarkably unfunny, especially the tall one with the glasses. He was just completely bereft of any talent whatsoever. And these guys used to headline BBC One Saturday evening. We used to have this variety thing, which was in a big top of all things. And I mean, these guys were the be all and end all. I mean, God, we were easily entertained in those days. But anyway, that is not what this video is about, thankfully. The Little and Large in question are two builds that I am about to start on. I'm very eager to start on them. Both kits were actually given to me. In the case of the Little, which is this one, which was given to me by a fellow club member, Kevin, thank you very, very much for this. It is a now, for those of you who remember my 1/48th Edward Polikarpov, very, very small plane, even in 1/48th. This is 1/44th scale, an I-16 in 1/44th scale, and it is, well, my fingertip, there's the fuselage. It is rather small, to say the least. However, it is a very, very comprehensive little kit with a photo etched fret that gives us full cockpit, instrument panel, full set of seat harnesses, the hatch flap things, the access hatches, as well as an engine. Now, the Polikarpov has, the engine is actually contained behind that weird sort of flat roundel thing, but what you're supposed to do in this instance, if you want to use it, is remove the centre section. That's going to be fun. And you've got a full photo etch thing to replace that. The wheel, the undercarriage of Polikarpov, if any of you are familiar with it, it's probably one of the most complex undercarriages ever committed to an aircraft by humankind. Again, all represented in beautifully detailed, fully riveted photo etch. So I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth into that. I'm also going to do it in the same scheme that I did the Edward one, the 1/48th one, so I can have them sitting side by. In fact, I could probably have this one sitting on the wing of the bigger one. But that's one of the builds I'm going to make to get started on. Now that is the Little. The Large, now again, this is another kit that was given to me. In this case from Jim Starkweather at the Kitmaker Network. Now please go check them out, kitmaker.net. Whatever it is that you build, be it planes, trains, automobiles, sci-fi, tanks, ships, there will be a forum on the Kitmaker Network that suits you. Now, this is a build that I have to have done by April, which means I'll be getting started on at PDQ. Again, thank you very, very much, Jim, for giving me the opportunity to get my mitts on this little, on this large beast. And it is the Tamiya 1/32nd scale Corsair F4U-1A. Not the birdcage one, it's the 1A, which has the first of the blown bubble canopies. This is a seriously gorgeous kit. There are no words other than those to describe this. It is absolutely immense. the detail on it. I'm going to do an out-of-box review or an in-box review or whatever you want to call it, just in early January, the first week or so in January, maybe even this week, I don't know, I'll see how things go. But I mean really, there will be aftermarket sets for this, but other than the seat harnesses, now Tamiya do give you photo etch seat harnesses, but you know how US seat belts have this big stitching on them. I want to use those Edward fabric ones to replace that. And just to enhance rather than replace, because nothing on this needs to be replaced because the detail level is just mind-blowing for injection molded, is I'm going to show the cowling flaps open. So there's an actuator set. Edward do a photo etch actuator set for the cowling flaps. So that'll just add a little bit of detail in there as well. But other than that, everything else is just exquisitely, beautifully, wonderfully detailed. So as I say, look out for a video that'll take you around the sprues of this thing. So that's basically, I mean, you can see what's on the desk here. I mean, it's in another work in progress sort of thing. I mean, the little BV141, the Airfix one, it's coming along faster than just about anything else. The Caudron's got its wings on, but being an Azure kit, short run, it's requiring a lot of attention along some of the, I mean, you can see there. This is a little tip. I don't know if you've ever tried this. Use a Sharpie. When you put your thing together, be it a fuselage or wings, run a Sharpie over it and you'll be able to see any kind of gaps or seam lines or whatever that require filling. It just seems to, being black, it just seems to show them up before you put any paint or anything on. Fill it, sand it. Now the good thing is that when you sand it, because you've used this black marker and you've put maybe, my preference is now super glue mixed with talcum powder, which kind of dries a bit clear, and then therefore when it sands you've got this little clear filler. You know when you've actually got down to the seam line because all that black disappears and all you're left with is the little black strip of filler, and so you actually know that you've sanded enough, as it were. Nice little tip. Anyway, today is my favourite day of the year, and it is also my favourite time of my favourite day of the year. That day and time being, for proof, it is the 24th of December. You're going to pick that up in there. 24th of December, and it is now 5:30. Now the reason I really like this particular time of this particular day is that in days of old, and by days of old I mean like 10, 15, 20 years ago, but these days that is the olden days, it used to be a case that shops used to close like earlier on Christmas Eve. Now nothing changes, nothing happens. I mean, I don't think the 24-hour shops, well certainly around here, I don't think they stay. I mean, I think our local supermarkets might close at 8, but they used to close at like 4 in the afternoon. And all shops used to close that wee bit earlier on Christmas Eve. And that meant that come 5 o'clock-ish, if you didn't have something that you needed, be it food for the Christmas dinner or wrapping paper or a card or a present, tough. There was nothing else you can do. You were past the point of no return. And all you could do was basically just lie back, feet up, open a can or a bottle or whatever your poison is, and as I always quote from It's a Wonderful Life, float away to happy land on the bubbles. Now I have a little tradition that I do every Christmas Eve, and I think I've mentioned this before, so excuse me if I have, is that I like to have a selection of locally brewed beers, bottled beers, special beers, not just your 6-pack, your normal 6-pack. Carefully selected beers. Hence the cruise, the booze cruise. That's where the cruise of the title comes from. And in this instance we actually just got back yesterday from Skye, the Isle of Skye. We stayed at the Ski Bost Country House Hotel, which was wonderful. Nice and isolated, nice big hotel, but the reception we got was fantastic. The 2 young ladies who were front of house, they start at like 6 in the morning and finish at like 11 at night. They must really love their job. One of them is married to the manager, granted, but the other, I mean, they just... Anyway, and they're both dog lovers, they're both dog owners, so they were fawning over Max, right? Like, in fact, one of them even gave Max a Christmas present. And any hotel that treats the dog better than it does the owners, fine with me. But being in Skye, I thought I'd pick up some. I've tried these before and they're delicious, and we're also selling it in the bar at the hotel. It's this Isle of Skye Brewing Company. Now they do 3 beers, or 3 ales, of which this one, Skye Gold. This is what I'm going to start. What I generally do is once 5 o'clock has come and gone and there's nothing else to do but, as I say, relax, I just like to pace myself through the whole evening, well, the next 5 hours anyway, because it's a bottle an hour. We usually watch Scrooge, the Alistair Sim, the British one from the, I think it was the 50s, and then later on we watch It's a Wonderful Life. But in between, what we do is when we take Max for his walk, we put jingle bells on his collar. The idea being that if we take him down the street and he's the kids who are lying in bed and can't get to sleep because they're waiting for Santa to come, they might hear the jingle bells and they might think it's Santa. It's just something that we do. But before that, I've got my beers to get through. So I'm going to start with the Skye Gold, a golden craft ale brewed from fine porridge oats, exceptionally soft and smooth with a creamy head. So that's Skye. As I say, they do 3. They've got the Skye Gold, the Skye Black, that's like a lager ale, if you like. Skye Black's more like a stout. A perfect marriage of dark bitterness and Scottish heather honey, balanced with fruit and hops. So we'll have the Skye Black, and then there's the Skye Red, which is a ruby beer. Majoring on malt, nuttiness and fruit, with just the right amount of hops. Our first ever ale, an award winner too, and an award winner too. Oh, there you go. Yeah, a balanced, nutty and exceptionally smooth craft ale. In the Scottish tradition, malted barley is to the fore. We use 3 different types, along with just the right amount of Challenger and Fuggle hops. This ale's deep hue is no accident. We look for our inspiration from Skye's Red Cullen Hills. There you go. All that in a beer, eh? And for the other 2, we head up a little bit further north to the Orkney, well, a lot further north actually, to the Orkney Islands. The Northern Light from the Orkney Brewing Company. A pale citrus character beer with a subtle malt backbone and zesty hop flavours. So, yeah. And we'll finish on this one, the Arran Blonde, which is brewed on the Isle of Arran, which is Europe's best all-grain wheat beer, according to this thing on the top. This is actually the strongest out of the whole lot, 5%. Maybe I should start with that one actually. But so yeah, that's my little tradition, which will take place tonight. And at the moment I'm actually drinking something a little bit more common. It's again another Scottish brewing company called McEwan's, and they do this beer called Export, McEwan's Export. Been around for ages. Strange thing is, I never used to touch this stuff. My granddad used to love it. And just after he died, all of a sudden I picked up a taste for it, so I don't explain that if you will. But anyway, it's actually quite nice as well now. I'm doing quite enjoy it. Quite not cold, but just room temperature helps bring out all the flavours. But anyway, aside from that, it's Christmas Eve, and I would just like to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, however you celebrate it, and that you have a styrene-filled New Year. And as I say, I'll see you very soon for the Corsair review video. So, cheers my dears, and I'll speak to you soon.